What's up, BookTube? I'm going to apologize in advance, just in case this maybe gets a little bit out of hand or repetitive, but I'm going to talk about what makes you DNF a book. What makes you not finish a book? This is pretty rare for me as far as not finishing books, because typically, since I really rediscovered my passion for reading a couple of years ago, it's pretty rare for me not to finish a book that I start. There are different things that might happen. I might start skimming the book a little bit through some parts where it maybe is dragging along a little bit, but I typically will finish a book. And I can only think of one book probably in the last year that I started and I'm pretty tempted to put in the DNF category. I'm not going to say what that book is, because there is a slight chance that I might pick that book up at another date. But a little background on this book. Facebook was really hitting me hard with this book. And part of it is because this book is set in my home state. And so Facebook was delivering me a lot of ads about this book. And of course, I clicked on it at one point, which just really starts to fuel even more posts, more of that deliveries of that post to you. And so I started getting that post more frequently, and I kept looking at it and looking at it and looking at it. But the price, I wasn't sure if I was going to be interested in this book, and I looked at the price, and so the combination of not being sure if I was going to be interested in the book, plus the price was a little bit more that I wanted to spend for a book that I was kind of thinking I might not either start or I might not finish. And so Facebook kept delivering this ad to me. And eventually I went back and I checked, and the book had been dropped to a really low price. I want to say like maybe $1.99 or $2.99 or something like that. Maybe it was 99 cents. I don't remember what it was, but it dropped down to a really low price. And so I thought, well, okay, fine. It's a Kindle book for that price. I'll go ahead and pick it up. So I picked the book up, and then I started to read it. And I read the first page, and I wasn't feeling it after one page. It just wasn't grabbing me. And so I ended up putting it down. And I went to something else, and I read, I think, another couple of books. And then I came back to it, and I started to read it a little bit more. And so I read it, and I kind of got into it, and then I kind of ran through about 50, 60, 70 pages. I think I got into it, which is pretty deep. And I think that's probably about 1/4 of the book, 70 or 70 some pages. That's probably about 1/4 of the book. So I was into it a little bit. It was kind of dragging for me a little bit, very detailed, and about places that I was familiar with. So that in a way kept me interested, and in a way it was like too much detail. And then I just stalled. It just felt like it was really dragging. And one of the big criticisms that I have a lot of books, I'm gonna tell you right now, straight up, one of the big criticisms that I usually have of books when I get done reading it is a lot of times books are just longer than they need to be, and it really feels like that. And that's the way this one was feeling like. And so I stopped, and I haven't picked it up since. I take that back. I did try it again, but I read like maybe a page, and I just stalled, and it just wasn't moving. And then I skimmed a little bit, and it just wasn't. It's just easier when you're on a Kindle. You just like that, or actually that way. But I just stopped, and I started to think, why did I stall, and why do people in general not finish a book? What makes them stall? And so that's a question for a lot of you out there: is what makes you just stop reading a book? I think for me, it's when the characters are just not popping for me. They're not. I don't really care so much whether the characters are likable or not likable, but when they're just not making me interested in them. Like, it's like when you watch a horror movie and the one guy is a jerk and you just can't wait to see him get killed, and then you have the virtuous one and you just want to see that person really survive into the end, and it's usually a woman, and be the final girl that survives because she was virtuous, where other backsliders were doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and they deserved to get killed. So I look for characters that really grab my attention, that really make me want to see what happens to them, make me want to see the trials and tribulations that they go through to get from the beginning to the middle to the end. And I wasn't feeling that with this particular book. Plus, it was just really slow getting into the meat of the book, and maybe I stopped 10 pages away from the heart of the book, and maybe if I got to that point, I would have been able to work my way through to the end. Who knows? So that's the question for you. What makes you endure to the end to really finish a book, and what makes you stop and just make you just drop the book and just put it to the side and maybe pick it up some other time, but probably never pick it up again? So let me know what you think. What makes you not finish a book, and what makes you finish a book? What are those key elements that are there that can make you step to one side or other of the line?